If you are a man living in a marriage that feels like a pressure cooker, I want you to stop and ask yourself one question. Why are you still there? The man I spoke to had spent 5 years in misery. 1 full year without intimacy. He and his wife went to therapy, spent thousands of dollars, and sat through countless sessions. He did everything the therapist suggested. She refused to change. On top of that, he had faced business failure, rebuilt from nothing, and climbed back on his feet. But every night he came home to hell. And, like so many men, he asked me, should I stay, or should I finally walk away? That is what this video is about. Why men should take the lead in divorce. And why doing so may be the single most important decision of your future. Men are experts at suffering. We endure. We adapt. We sit in silence. We carry the load. We keep walking even when our backs are breaking. That is both our strength and our weakness. Because while we can suffer longer than most, we often fail to recognize that the pot we are sitting in is slowly heating to a boil. Think about that old story of the frog in the pot. Drop a frog into boiling water and it will jump out immediately. But put it in cold water and slowly turn up the heat, and it will stay until it cooks alive. That is how many men approach marriage. They stay in misery, telling themselves it could be worse, that they can handle it, that at least it is familiar. But here is the reality. 70% of divorces in America are filed by women. Why? Because women, for all their strengths, are not built to endure suffering the way men are. They will act on their emotions. They will lash out. They will say the words, "I want a divorce," in a moment of fury. And once those words are spoken, the direction of the marriage changes forever. Men, on the other hand, we rarely say it first. We avoid it. We try to reason, to fix, to adapt. And by the time we finally face the truth, our wives have already made the decision for us. That is why taking the lead matters. Because when you reach that point where you know your marriage is not going to recover, when you know the woman you married is gone and she is not coming back, it is foolish to stay on the sinking ship. There is no honor in being the captain of the Titanic as it slips beneath the waves. You do not win points for suffering until the end. What you need to do is step onto the lifeboat. Not only step onto it, but take the wheel. Because if she takes the lead, if she is the one steering, you may find yourself tossed to the sharks before you even know what happened. So the first thing you must do is take ownership of this process. Leadership is not just about guiding others. It is about guiding yourself. It is about having the courage to make the decision and then the wisdom to carry it out in a way that sets you up for a better future. Before you ever speak to your wife about divorce, you must speak to yourself. You must be clear about what you want. Maybe not every detail. Maybe you do not know exactly what your life will look like in 5 years. But you know some things for sure. You want peace of mind. You want a calm place to live. You want to wake up without feeling like you are walking on eggshells. Picture that for a moment. Close your eyes and imagine a place where you can breathe. A place where you are not constantly waiting for the next explosion of anger or the next wave of silence. Imagine sitting down to a meal without tension filling the air. That picture is your starting point. It is the reason you will step forward. Once you see that vision, you can begin to plan the first practical step. And here is my advice. Do not think about buying a house. Do not make grand plans about the next 20 years. Right now, you just need a safe place to land. Get yourself an apartment. Something small, simple, temporary. A place where you can put your television, cook your meals, hang your hat, and start breathing again. If you have children, choose a place close to them. Give yourself enough space so they can stay with you comfortably. This is not forever. This is your transition space. 1 year, maybe 2. The goal is not luxury. The goal is stability. Because when you step out of that pressure cooker, the first thing you will notice is how much clearer your mind becomes. It is like having a 100-pound weight lifted off your chest. You can breathe, you can think, you can start planning again. That does not mean it will be easy. Divorce is never easy. It will be painful, it will stir up emotions, it will challenge you. But it is a different kind of pain. It is the pain of healing, not the pain of dying slowly inside a marriage that has already ended in every way but name. And that is where we begin. With clarity, with vision, with the courage to admit the truth and to act on it. Once you have a vision for your future, the next step is preparing for the hardest conversation you may ever have. The divorce conversation. Before you walk into it, you must be absolutely clear about one thing. You cannot change your mind halfway through. It is like jumping out of an airplane. The moment you leave the plane, there is no climbing back in. You have to trust that your parachute will open. That is how it works with divorce. Once you say the words, once you make it real, everything shifts. So ask yourself first, am I 100% sure? If the answer is no, then you are not ready to have that talk yet. In that case, what you need is a different conversation. You need the reconciliation conversation. That conversation sounds like this. I love you. I want this marriage to work. I want to bring us back to where we once were. What can we do together to make this happen? That talk is filled with empathy, compassion, and the language of we. It is about repair. But if you already know in your heart that the marriage cannot be repaired, then you must not confuse the two. The divorce conversation is very different. It still uses compassion. It still uses calm words. But the focus is not on saving the marriage. It is on creating a path forward apart. It may sound like this. I love you. You will always be an important part of my life. But this marriage is no longer working for you or for me. We cannot keep living like this. We need to move in different directions. That language is not about blame. It is not about tearing her down. It is about two adults acknowledging reality and deciding to separate in the healthiest way possible. Now, let me warn you. This will not be a single conversation. Do not expect to sit down once, say your piece, and then move on with life. It often takes 2, 3, even 5 talks before both of you are truly aligned on what comes next. So manage your expectations. Do not overload that first moment with the belief that everything will be settled. And this is where leadership becomes absolutely critical. When you are the one initiating, you are the one setting the agenda. You are the one setting the tone. Those two things will decide whether your divorce becomes a war or a process of transition. If you go in angry, if you unload years of bitterness, if you throw verbal bullets at her, those words will never be forgotten. And the moment lawyers get involved, every cruel word you ever said will be used as fuel. It will cost you money, it will poison your children, and it will follow you for years. That is why you must never fire those bullets. Unload your anger somewhere safe. Hire a therapist, talk to a close friend, write in a journal. But when you sit across from your wife, your tone must be calm, kind, even loving. Because you are not just ending a marriage. You are shaping the next 20 years of your life, especially if you share children. If you have kids, you must understand this truth. Your ex-wife will always be part of your world. Graduations, birthdays, weddings, holidays. She will be there. And how you handle this divorce will determine whether those future moments are filled with constant tension or with at least a measure of peace. That is why I recommend suggesting mediation instead of lawyers. A mediator costs far less, drains far less energy, and keeps the process from turning into a battlefield. You can sit in the same room, divide your assets fairly, and set a plan for your children without burning everything down. When you suggest mediation, you are once again setting the agenda and setting the tone. You are showing that you want cooperation, not destruction. Now, let us talk about the emotional storm that will likely erupt. She may cry. She may scream. She may deny, bargain, accuse. Expect it. Prepare for it. Do not meet fire with fire. Do not take the bait when hurtful words are thrown at you. Because the goal is not to win the argument. The goal is to move into a new chapter without leaving scorched earth behind. Think of it this way. When you first married, you created a healthy environment for two lives to join. When you divorce, try to create a healthy environment for two lives to separate. It will never be easy, but it can be done with dignity. Leadership is the key. When you take charge, you remove some of the chaos. You decide the setting. You decide the words. You decide the timing. That control is not about power over her. It is about guiding both of you through a storm in the safest way possible. Imagine two ships caught in a storm. If no one is steering, both are tossed aimlessly, crashing into each other until they both sink. But if you take the wheel of your ship, you can at least steer a course that avoids total destruction. That is your job here. And let me say this clearly. There is no perfect script. There is no magic phrase that makes divorce painless. But there is a right posture. Calm, compassionate, clear, firm. She may resist. She may try to regain control. She may say, "No, I will file first." Do not panic. Your role is not to control her choices, but to anchor yourself in the vision you already created. You want peace, stability, clarity. Keep coming back to that, over and over again. And slowly, as the talks repeat, as the emotions settle, as the reality becomes undeniable, a new agreement will begin to form. It may not be perfect, but it can be workable. It can be humane. It can be something you both can live with. That is why taking initiative matters so much. When you lead, you frame the entire process. You are not reacting to her rage. You are not being dragged into her lawyer's office. You are setting a course that prioritizes your sanity, your children, and your future. This is the heart of part 2. Leadership in action. Not just as an abstract idea, but as a set of choices in the hardest conversations of your life. And when you understand this, you begin to see the divorce not just as an ending, but as the first step toward a future you actually want. There comes a moment in every failing marriage when the road splits. You have tried therapy. You have had the long nights of silent tension. You have begged, adapted, compromised until there is nothing left to give. And then one day you realize the marriage is gone. It is over in every way but name. That realization is the point of no return. It is the moment you stop asking if it can be fixed and start asking how to move forward. And this is where so many men falter. They see the truth, but they refuse to act. They cling to the sinking ship, hoping for a miracle that will never come. But leadership means facing that truth with courage. It means saying the words out loud. Not in anger, not as a weapon, but as a declaration of reality. This is not working for you. This is not working for me. We need to separate. When you say those words, your stomach will twist. Your heart will pound. It will feel like jumping from a plane at 10,000 feet. But remember, once you leap, the parachute opens. And the ground below is not death, it is a new beginning. Yes, there will be pain. Yes, there will be fear. Yes, there will be nights when you question everything. But the pain of leaving is nothing compared to the pain of staying trapped in hell. One pain leads to healing. The other leads to a slow death of your spirit. Now, let us talk about what happens after. Because divorce is not just a legal process. It is a human one. You will still feel sentimental about old memories. You will still be triggered by her words, her habits, the history you shared. That is normal. Do not run from it. Let those feelings pass through you like waves. They will come, and they will go. And slowly, the fog will lift. You will notice the small things first. The way you can breathe more easily in your own apartment. The way your stress levels drop when you wake up and realize there is no fight waiting for you in the kitchen. The way you can finally focus on your work, your children, your health, without walking on eggshells. That is the gift of leaving the pressure cooker. Clarity returns. Energy returns. Peace returns. But let me be clear. This does not mean you will never face challenges again. Divorce comes with financial strain. It comes with difficult conversations about custody. It comes with rebuilding your life from the ground up. But those are challenges you can solve. They are problems that move you forward instead of holding you hostage. And here is the vision I want you to hold. Picture yourself 5 years from now. You are sitting in your own home. Your kids come over. They laugh. They feel comfortable in your space. You and your ex-wife speak civilly at birthdays and graduations. There is no bitterness poisoning every exchange. You have built a life that is calm, stable, free. That is the future you are investing in. That is why you take initiative now. Because the decisions you make today determine whether you arrive at that peaceful future or whether you spend the next decade in constant war. And here is the secret. The way you handle the divorce itself sets the tone for everything that follows. If you attack, if you destroy, if you let lawyers turn it into a battlefield, then that battlefield will never end. But if you stay calm, if you choose mediation, if you speak with compassion even while standing firm, then you create a foundation for peace. Not perfect peace. Not fairy tale peace. But workable peace. Enough peace to build your new life without being dragged back into the old one. So take control. Do not wait for her to file. Do not wait for the next explosion. Do not wait until you are completely broken. Lead. Set the agenda. Set the tone. Protect your future. Because divorce is not just an ending. It is a transition. It is the doorway to rediscovering who you are when you are no longer suffocating. It is the path to living the years you have left with clarity, with energy, with purpose. I know it is terrifying. I know it feels like stepping into the unknown. But I promise you this. Once you are under your own roof again, once the toxic environment is behind you, you will find yourself again. You will remember the man you were before the fights, before the silence, before the years of pressure, and you will begin to rebuild. So here is my final word. Do not stay in hell because it is familiar. Do not choose slow death over difficult freedom. Take the step. Pull the trigger. But do it with wisdom. Do it with compassion. No verbal bullets. Because the goal is not to destroy her. The goal is to free yourself. And when you lead the process with clarity and dignity, you create the best possible outcome, not just for yourself, but for your children, and even for her. Divorce is one of the hardest things you will ever face. But it is also one of the most important chances you will ever have to reclaim your life. Take that chance. Take control. And build the future you deserve. Thank you for listening. If this message spoke to you, please like and subscribe. And if you know a man who is standing at the same crossroads, share this with him. He may need the courage to take that step. I will see you in the next one.